Hello, friends. Welcome to Transcendent Astrology and Tarot. My name is Michelle Fondin. Some of you know me through my other channel, michellefondinauthor on YouTube. I want to welcome you here. Of course, this is the first full video, and this is for the full moon lunar eclipse in Libra. In fact, it's a penumbral lunar eclipse, and I'll explain what that is. If you are new to the channel, which most of you are at this point, I'm sure, thank you for subscribing below. Click on that bell for all notifications. And please do give the video a thumbs up. We are here for the full moon lunar eclipse in Libra. And that is happening on March 25th at 12 a.m. or midnight Pacific time, 3 a.m. Eastern time in the United States. So we're gonna jump right in and talk about it. The format for these full moon videos and new moon videos are gonna go as such. I'm going to explain where the full moon is at. I'm going to explain the axis of, for example, the opposition between Libra and Aries. And then I'm going to go into 4 particular aspects. Finally, I'm going to end with an intuitive part of this reading using the tarot. So let's get started. This is for March 25th at midnight Pacific time. And what does a penumbral lunar eclipse mean? It means that it's not 100% total eclipse. In this case, it's 95%. Penumbral means in the shadow of the earth. So the moon is sitting in the shadow of the earth at about 95%. So it is not at a total 100%, but it's pretty darn close. I think we could probably call this a total lunar eclipse. So what are eclipses? Eclipses are when we don't see it, right? When for the moment, for a few minutes, we do not see the moon, even though the moon is full bright in the sky, we're not seeing it. And this is happening at a particular time in the year where we do have eclipse season. The next one, the solar eclipse, is happening on April 8th of 2024. Now, eclipses are intense. They bring about transformations, full transformations. And since this is happening as a lunar eclipse, things tend to be more emotional because the moon does represent our emotions. The moon represents the mother, the nurturing, that part of you that is sometimes hidden, right? Emotions happen to be something that are near and dear to our heart. Sometimes they come to the surface and sometimes they remain stuffed right inside of you. The full moon is when something is coming into fullness, meaning it's grown to its maximum. And that means there is a sense of completion about something. There's a sense of completion. There can be a sense of endings and new beginnings at the exact same time. But something about the eclipse is that there is something hidden. There's something not seen. There's something that is eclipsed. When we experience a full moon lunar eclipse, something about what is happening in the signs we don't really see. Now, eclipses can take a full 6 months to come into the light, to come into fruition. So when there is a thing that is happening during a full moon lunar eclipse, you might see the start of it, but you might not see the fullness of it for the full 6 months, if that makes sense. So as I mentioned, the moon represents our moods. We get moody, right? And so since the moon represents the changes of our moods, the changes of emotions, then it really matters which sign it happens to be in at the time of the full moon. So for this full moon, it just happens to be in Libra. So let's talk about what Libra is all about. And in fact, it is at 5 degrees Libra in the first decan of Libra. And the sun is at 5 degrees Aries. It's way at the beginning of Aries, in the first decan of Aries. And there is this polarity between the moon and the sun, the moon being in Libra, the sun being in Aries. So Libra is all about partnerships. Libra is the sign of relationships, partnerships, getting along. Now the sign Libra, which is ruled by Venus, likes to get along. Libra likes everyone to get along. It's about balance. The symbol is the balance, the scales, right? When we talk about the moon sitting at 5 degrees Libra in its fullness, it's about coming to fullness in some sort of relationship, coming to fullness in that relationship. Now, it could be a transformation of an existing relationship. It could be the fullness of a relationship, for example, a relationship coming to an end, but it could also be about the fullness of a relationship, meaning that it's transforming into something else. So for example, a couple that has been dating for some time, they could get engaged during this time, or they could even get married during this time. So there is this sense of fullness, of change, of transformation. Now, another thing this could mean with the sun being in Aries, Aries is the fire starter. Aries is ruled by Mars. And Aries is about beginnings. It's about starting something. It is also about individuality because we are at the start of the astrological year. This is like our springtime. It's not only springtime in spring, but it is truly the beginning of the astrological year, the astrological calendar, when Aries started at 0, when the sun was at 0 Aries. Now it's at 5 degrees Aries. So it could also be about individuality. So the fullness of the moon in Libra could be about, I'm done with relationships for now, and I want to experience the individual. I want to experience myself outside of a relationship. So it could very well mean that as well. So it could be the start for you for the next 6 months of being single, for example. If you've been in a relationship, that relationship has come to an end, and it's about you learning and experiencing what it means to be an individual outside of the couple. So I hope you have a fuller view. Now, of course, this is going to depend on your individual natal chart and where Libra and Aries are in your personal natal chart. Now, if you're curious about that, if you're new to astrology, I do natal chart readings, and you can check that out in the info box below. Let's now talk about some of the aspects that are a part of this lunar eclipse in Libra. So the first aspect that I really want to talk about is the full moon in Libra trine Pluto in Aquarius. Now Pluto, this teeny tiny planet that has a big punch, Pluto is the planet of transformation and metamorphosis. Whatever Pluto touches cannot go back to the way it was. That's what Pluto does. Now, Pluto is in the sign of Aquarius for the next 20 years. It'll dip back into Capricorn for a few months this year, but after that, it will stay and move through Aquarius very slowly for the next 20 years. Aquarius is all about groups, networking, the people, science and technology. But in the realm of relationships, because that is technically what we're talking about as we move through this full moon in Libra, Pluto is really the impact of transformations. Now, Pluto with the full moon in this aspect called a trine is something really special because trines bring about harmony and ease and happiness. So for me, what this is telling me is that Pluto is actually going to lend a helping hand to this full moon in Libra. Pluto is going to make the transformation quicker easier, and perhaps more finite. Because another problem with the sign Libra is indecision, right? Libra wants to balance the scales, weigh the pros and cons, and not necessarily make a decision. Pluto is like, boom, this decision is final. You're doing this now. So when it comes to waffling, for example, on a relationship that you've been on the fence about, should I stay, should I go? Pluto with his trine that is bringing ease and harmony to the situation could help you make that decision to, in fact, leave the relationship. And like I said, whatever Pluto touches, boom, it's transformed, metamorphosis, it's done. It could also bring about a transformation and change in a relationship for the better. Now, trines are usually for the better. For example, if you've been dating someone and it's been a long time coming and you really wanted a proposal or getting married or having kids, for example, and it's just been in a stalemate, Pluto could come in and lend that helping hand and say, all right, here's a group of friends, Aquarius, here's a group of friends, all of which are pregnant, coming to your home, and finally your spouse agrees during this full moon lunar eclipse in Libra, all right, we're ready to have a baby. So something like that could be extremely helpful, bring about harmony in the relationship. So that's actually a quite good aspect. I like it. Some astrologers might interpret that as being more challenging. I certainly don't. Another thing that Pluto in Aquarius trine Libra full moon are psychic abilities and telepathic abilities between two people. And this could also be like your soul group coming together, because remember, Pluto is in Aquarius. It's about groups, networking, people, friend groups, things like that. So it could almost mean like there is this transformation with telepathy, psychic abilities, having to do with a partner, whether it's a business partner, a romantic partner, a friendship, or a group of people coming together to have this elevation of the soul all of a sudden, and having these psychic abilities, having these telepathic abilities. Pluto also brings very strong psychic abilities. So those are many things that could happen in the midst of this trine. Let's go to the next aspect. This is a more challenging aspect. It is the full moon in Libra in conjunct Mars. Now, an in conjunct is a more challenging aspect. It's where the full moon cannot see Mars. And so Mars can be rather sneaky and kind of sneak up on the full moon in Libra. So there's really no visual of Mars from where the full moon is sitting in Libra. That can bring about challenges in and of itself. With the full moon in conjunct Mars, there could be this sense of self-sacrifice. There could be this sense of self-effacing for the will of another person. You might not stick up for what you believe in. You might not stick up for what you want in the relationship. And you might let the other person rule over you in this in conjunct situation. Even if others are nasty or abusive to you, this in conjunct to Mars is going to make you not defend yourself in a way. Now, this is exacerbated by two things. One, the full moon is in Libra. Libra likes to get along. Libra does not like to make waves in the sense of the actual relationship. Libra likes things to be balanced. And so Libra is not likely to argue with someone who might be a little too domineering. The second problem is that Mars is sitting in Pisces at 0 degrees Pisces. Now, Mars does not like to be in Pisces because Mars is the planet of action, aggression, the warring planet, the masculine, the yang. And really, Mars is how we get things done. Mars is the warring planet. It's like, go out there and do it. And the problem is, Mars would be, I'm going to fight for my rights. I'm going to fight for myself. I'm going to be assertive. I'm going to set my proper boundaries in relationships. And the fact that it's in Pisces, in conjunct to the moon in Libra, it really does give off this air of, I want to change and transform my relationships, full moon in Libra, but I don't have the courage or strength to go about it in the way that gets me what I want. So that is super problematic. Let's go to the second problem and then we'll go to the solution. The second problem is the Sun conjunct Neptune. Now, Neptune is the planet of imagination, boundary dissolving, right? The fantasy world, the idealized world. Normally, the Sun conjunct Neptune is a harmonious, nice little conjunction. But in this case, when we're talking about relationships, again, it could bring about this sense of the fantasy world. The fantasy world that tells you the relationship really is better than it actually is. That if I just imagine what I want, I'll get what I want. I don't have to speak up and say what I want. I don't have to take action to get what I want. I can just imagine it and it'll be there. And there is this disillusionment that things will just work themselves out. I don't have to do anything, Mars and Pisces. Things will just work themselves out. And again, that can also be problematic when you're trying to change and transform relationships for the better, or maybe change and transform a relationship for its ending. You do, in fact, have to take action steps to get there. The solution, I believe, is the Sun in Aries sextile Pluto in Aquarius. The Sun in Aries sextile Pluto in Aquarius. Sextiles are the pathway for growth. They are also a helping hand. They're also something that is going to be eased by somebody else helping you. In this case, Sun in Aries sextile Pluto in Aquarius. Now, Pluto in Aquarius, again, is representing the groups, transformation in groups. What could this mean? It could mean, like I mentioned before, let's say you and your spouse have been stuck in a rut. You're wanting a baby, your spouse doesn't want a baby, and it's just been this back and forth arguments. The Pluto in Aquarius sextile Sun in Aries. Aries is the fire starter, starting a new fire, starting a new conversation. Could be that group of couples coming over to your home and all of the women in that group are expecting a baby. Your spouse sees that. Your spouse has a conversation with you and says, hey, I think it's time for us two to have a baby. So it's actually the group helping you get to your goal. Another thing could be, for example, if you've been having trouble in your relationship and your partner is an addict, it could be your partner literally going to a 12-step group, right? Pluto in Aquarius, to help them transform, which then transforms the relationship. So do you get it? There is a helping hand here. There is a solution, and that is the transcendence of this. That there are issues, there are problems with relationships ending or beginning, and this might take the full 6 months of the eclipse, and it might not resolve itself for those 6 months. And even though there are problems with not being assertive enough, or imagining that things are really better than they are, there are helpful people, helpful situations that come in to lend a helping hand and say, look, here's how you end it, here's how you begin it, and here's how you transform it. And so I don't feel like you are alone in this. This is not about I'm alone with one other person, Libra, the two, right? The partnership, the couple. I'm not alone with just one other person trying to solve my problems, or I don't have to break it all off and just become the individual and end the relationship completely. If there's a chance to change and transform it and make it better, then the group, any group, could come in and lend a helping hand to make that happen. So if you're in a situation where you're feeling hopeless about any partnership situation you are in, there will be help coming from the outside with that Pluto in Aquarius coming in to actually help you change and transform the situation. Then this does not have to be a romantic relationship. It could also be a partnership, a business partnership, okay? It could be a relationship with a family member, a relationship with a best friend. But it's usually two people with Libra, since the opposition of that is Aries, which is the individual, the one person. And since we have these favorable aspects to Pluto and Aquarius, it does look like you will get a lot of help from Pluto and Aquarius when it comes to changing and transforming these personal situations. So let's go ahead and see what the tarot cards have to say about the full moon lunar eclipse in Libra. I'm going to call in all the archangels, angels of God. What are we looking at for the collective for this full moon lunar eclipse in Libra? What are we learning? What are we learning? I'm going to pick a few cards from this deck. I'm going to pick some qualifying cards from the other deck. They're both tarot decks, just to let you know, guys. They're both tarot decks. I like it. So far, these are like relationship cards and they're really helpful. I love this. I almost feel like I don't need to pull another card because this is telling the story. Okay, so I believe there are choices here. There are definitely choices here. And the choices that you're going to make are going to depend on where you are at in your particular Libran situation here. We're gonna reshuffle this deck. These are the qualifying cards. This is a different deck, but same deck, if you will. And let's see what else comes out. I like it so far. I really like the message because it does resonate with what's happening, what's going on. Wow, Pluto comes into play with the cards. Pluto and Mars come into play with the cards. Let's get one more qualifier and then we'll start with the tarot part of this reading. All right, so we have 6 cards total. I'm going to read this separately and then I'm going to read it as a whole to help you understand. So we're starting out with a Knight of Coins in reverse. This is a Knight of Pentacles in reverse, Earth sign. We really are not dealing with much in the way of Earth signs during this time. We've got an air sign and we have a fire sign. So Libra is an air sign and Aries is a fire sign. And of course, Aquarius is another air sign. But this is the prior situation, I believe. And the reason I say it's the prior situation is because we are coming out of a time period where there were a bunch of planets in Capricorn. We are just coming out of that time period and we are coming into another period where the planets are shifting. And Pluto has already shifted into Aquarius from Capricorn, Earth sign. And so the Knight of Coins in reverse is saying lacking direction, stuck. Okay, bored with the situation, right? So as I was mentioning, coming into the full moon in Libra, there is something that has been stuck in a relationship. It could be an indecision, a lack of transformation. It could be the lack of a start of a relationship. Maybe there's been a business partnership that has had false starts. That it's like, let's get this business going. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. And it hasn't taken off the ground. But we have the star, wishes granted, with Aquarius here. The star card with Aquarius here. We have Aquarius that is coming in with good luck, good fortune. The stars are aligned to start something new with Uranus here. So Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius, and Uranus brings about something unexpected, something sudden, something unexpected. And this is on top of the Knight of Coins in reverse, which is about being stuck. So the star card is coming in with Aquarian energy. Pluto is sitting right there at 1 degree Aquarius, is coming in to suddenly transform something, a relationship. Then we have this 10 of Coins, which is the vision. I believe this is the vision of happy living. The 10 of Cups is the vision. Did I say 10 of Coins? The 10 of Cups is the vision of happy living. This is having it all, having the happy partnership, the happy couple, the happy relationships. And this could also mean if you're wanting to have kids, having those kids. But again, this is not going to come tomorrow. This is not going to come easy. There is more change and transformation on the way. The Tower card, more change and transformation and sudden changes and transformations on the way. The Tower card is like Uranus. It brings about sudden change and transformation. Sudden change, sudden transformation that is absolutely necessary. I also see Mars here, and Mars will not be in Pisces forever. Mars moves through a sign in approximately a month or some change. And so Mars will not be in Pisces forever. I believe Mars is going to prepare to go into Aries, the sign it loves and loves to be in. But I do believe in the next 6 months in this transformation, whether it's a great transformation, whether it's a painful transformation, whether the relationship is ending, whether a relationship is transforming or a brand new relationship is beginning, it's not going to come without deep, deep, deep emotions. Why? Full moon. Moon is about our emotions. And in Libra, it's about, I want things to be balanced. I want things to be all hunky-dory. I want things to be good. And with the 5 of Coins left out in the cold, and with the 3 of Swords, deep emotional pain, what I am seeing is there is always rain before a rainbow. There's always rain before a rainbow. The rainbow is coming. Look, we have that 10 of Cups. Do you see the rainbow coming? But there's always rain before a rainbow, right? The air gets cooler. The clouds cover the sky. And then there's an outpouring, a downpour of rain. And I really feel that it might not feel good for a while to have this change and transformation in a relationship or partnership. If it's something you're starting in a relationship or partnership, there are growing pains. There are always growing pains in a relationship or partnership. It feels good for a little bit, but then all of a sudden it doesn't feel so good. Well, things change and transform and morph and grow. If a relationship is ending, it's not going to feel good for a while. You're going to feel sad and left out in the cold. So it's not going to feel grand for a while. It might feel like you're rejected. It might feel like a breakup. It might feel like a divorce. It might feel like I have all these emotions that I've bottled up for so long and I really want to let them out. Even though there are good changes, sudden changes, transformative changes, and helping hand changes, it doesn't mean that there won't be growing pains for the next 6 months. But the good news is, let's pull one more card. I feel like there is good news in all of this, and that is the solution to all of this, the solution to the problems, the solution to Mars in Pisces during this, the solution to that in conjunct, right? And that is rewards for your labor, 9 of coins. Rewards for your labor, 9 of coins. You will be rewarded. You will be rewarded for your hard work, for moving through this, for honoring your emotions. And I believe also to allow others to help you with that group mentality, the Pluto and Aquarius. Allow a group of friends to help you. Allow group therapy to help you. Allow a group of colleagues to help you. Whatever the situation has to be, it's about allowing others to help you as your partnerships, your one-on-one partnerships with others are changing and transforming, growing, ending, and beginning. So I hope you enjoyed this video on the full moon lunar eclipse in Libra for March 25th, 2024 at midnight Pacific time. I want to thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for subscribing to my channel below. Click on the bell, scroll up to all for all notifications. Thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. Thank you for sharing this video with your friends who like astrology. And you can always book a reading with me. The links are below, and I will see you in the next video.